welcome to my podcast. So what is going on? Well, I know it's been a while since I've been on the microphone. There are a bunch of reasons for that. Nothing critical. It's just been, 2025 has been kind of a funky year, like big picture. Like, life is okay, but just the bigger picture of the world has made 2025 a lot. And it's been hard to find the motivation, so I've recorded a few times, but wasn't compelled to go into the edit. Creation is easy. Turning that creation into something refining is a lot of work, and I couldn't get there. But I'm there now, so I'm recording right now. I just recorded a guest episode on Ryan Runs, which is a friend of the network. Ryan Miller, good guy, talking about movies, like I do sometimes. That should be out very soon. And I'm rebranding the show. Not just Johnathanblade, not just my handle is Johnathanblade, but now Johnathanblade presents The Elder Blerd. What's a blerd? It's a black nerd. I thought people knew that because hanging out on the internet, you think people know what these terms mean. They don't. But I think Elder Blerd says something about what the show is more than just my handle is Johnathanblade, which was my old internet pseudonym that I would use. My handle. I thought that would be something. It was actually a placeholder, and I never found a replacement for it, but I think Johnathanblade presents The Elder Blerd will be the thing. Just an old black nerd talking about nerd stuff. This episode, today, the nerd stuff we're talking about is the CMF Watch Pro 2. My web camera is not good enough to pick up the screen here, but the CMF Watch Pro 2 looks nice, huh? Aftermarket band. This is a regular 22-inch watch band that I bought for a different watch, because I've had generations of smartwatches. I have this now, but before, in the long, long ago, I had the Asus Zen watch. Bottom lug broke off, but it was craptastic before that. Good in its time. It lasted me a while. It became difficult to charge after a few years, and then just in storage, the lug broke off. I kept it in my glove compartment and forgot it was there for like 3 years. And the whatever's holding the lug in place probably deteriorated. And then a few years ago, I got the Fossil Hybrid watch, which is actually, it was very nice, except it has a defect, a production defect. Not just this, but I would imagine the whole line has this defect, where the charging coils are put in place by some really cheap epoxy, and after a few charges and it getting wet with sweat, the epoxy comes loose, charging coil falls out, and you cannot stick it back. You can't just stick it back in. It won't start charging again. They have to do something in the factory. So I had it replaced under warranty once, and it happened again, and so that was the end of that. And so I wanted something that did more traditional smartwatch stuff after this one, because I liked having a watch, but this was missing some features that I thought weren't important to me, but they kind of were. Like flashlight mode. The thing about a fixed function watch like this, because this is a very inexpensive watch, I think it's going for $70 or $80. When I got it, it was even cheaper than that. But CMF, which is a sub-brand of Nothing, it's their like economy brand. CMF kind of hit it out of the park with this. I've seen some like raw reviews of this, but I don't understand how they don't understand that this is value. It does all of the regular functions of a smartwatch. Doesn't have an app store. I can live with that. For instance, I missed having a flashlight on my wrist. The flashlight function on this works very well. 1,000 nits, half the brightness of the current Apple Watch. I think it's 2,000 nits, but works for flashlight. That's the thing I use the most, actually, besides telling the time. Pausing music. Yep, like pausing music on the wrist. Canned responses. This supports canned responses, which is something that the Fossil watch did not do, and something I felt like I was missing out on. Just being able to do canned responses to messages that come in. So you can set your own canned responses. So I've crafted like 10 canned responses that I can do on my wrist. I don't use them that often, but I like the fact that they're there. I actually don't use a smartwatch to do a lot of stuff. It's a watch where you can look at your notifications as they come in so you're not as distracted. for picking up your phone. That's what it's supposed to do. And tracking steps. That is the main function for me, actually, is step tracking. The downfall here is that while I am using this to track my steps, it does not integrate into Google Health. So if I am tracking steps here, and I don't have my phone with me, then those steps kind of fall into a void. Not super important, because I'm not an athlete. I'm not training for anything. I just want to hit a certain number of steps a day, and that's worked out pretty nicely for me. The other function here versus an actual smartwatch, because this is once again fixed function, RTOS, real-time OS, is what you get on a watch like this. Super low power. You don't have to charge it often. I think every 5 or 6 days, depending on what you do with it. And then there's a low power mode on it if you just want to use it as a watch, and you charge it every 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something. Yeah, I appreciate that kind of functionality, and it's nice. It looks nice. I work in IT, so almost everybody around me is kind of a gadget nerd. Everybody's got really nice smartwatches like Samsung's and Apple Watches, and I'm not jealous wearing this because I think it looks nice. It has a bezel that's removable and replaceable, but I got the flat bezel because I think that looks nicer. I don't like the rounded bezel that is the other alternative, but they can be replaceable. You can get alternative bezels. The ones I've seen have time markers on them. Interesting. I have not actually taken off my initial bezel, so I'm sure that they look very nice. I'm sure that they add a little pop, a little flair. I don't need that yet. I can do things like I've got a picture of my girlfriend as my watch face right now, and that's plenty for me. Once again, web camera is not good enough for you to see her, but rest assured she is beautiful. So the CMF Watch 2 Pro, second in the line. The first one had the Apple Watch squarish rounded rectangle shape, and that's really the main difference. There are some other differences, like this watch it has a microphone and it has a speaker for specific functions. It's not supposed to be able to play music through the speaker on this watch, but it has sometimes, like it's glitched to play music through this watch. If I could figure out how to make that happen all the time, I wouldn't do it, but it is nifty. The other thing that separates it, I think that GPS is on the watch. I don't use the GPS, so I don't know how that works, because I'm not tracking like a running route or anything. It may just integrate with the watch's GPS. It may have its own GPS. I'm not sure, because I'm not using those features. Heart rate tracking, I do use that sometimes. My heart rate skews a little high because I drink too much coffee, but I, rest assured, am relatively healthy. Calories burned tracking. I'm sure that's not terribly accurate, but it is a feature that's in there. There's a bunch of health features, and there's workout tracking for a lot of different workouts. I don't use that because, once again, I'm not using it as a health watch. I'm using it as a notification tracker that does step tracking, and that looks nice. That's my purpose for it, and as that, it's almost perfect. Some other functions it supports. Actually, we can just look at it here. Control your music playback, that's a big one for me. So I usually have headphones on where you can double tap them to stop the music, but it's actually sometimes more handy to do it from the watch, and that works out nicely for me. You can use the dialer, so this supports phone calls. I would never do this. I despise when people take their calls in public. I think it's so rude, but you could do that if you were so disposed in a given situation. I have done that once or twice, but yeah, I don't like that function so much, but I'm glad that it has it. Weather tracking, yeah, just integrating data from the, and it's got the circles, the Apple-style circles to track your health metrics. Not terribly important to me, but I'm glad it exists. The Find My Phone function, also very important to me. It's not the big features, it's the little features. Being able to make your phone ring from the watch as opposed to having to jump into Find My on a computer or something, great. Flashlight, calendar, stopwatch, all the regular timers. There's a voice assistant integration, which I've never used from the watch. I don't find that to be terribly necessary. The phone is almost always at hand. As a satellite for your phone, I've never found smartwatches to be terribly useful because the phone is almost always at hand for me. But I like that it supports the features. I like that they exist. Sleep tracking, I've used that a couple times. My sleep schedule is terrible. It's been getting better lately. I've been trying to make it get better lately, so I should start doing that. But at this point, I'm not sleep tracking. Blood oxygen tracking is not a feature that I use, but once again, I do like that it's there. The few times I have used it, looks like my blood oxygen is good, so hooray for that. And stress cycle tracking. Yeah, a bunch of standard health watch features. And being able to respond to messages with the canned responses is really the big thing. Being able to start a phone call from the watch. You can do that with the people that are in your contact list. I've never used it for that, but once again, a feature that I appreciate it has. And so far, this has been a good experience, except for one thing specifically. After the last round of app update and Android update, this is no longer a thing, but for a month and a half, 2 months, I had to explicitly open the app on the phone for the watch integration to work properly. So it wouldn't show as connected unless the app on the phone was open, and that was obnoxious. And I didn't see anywhere, and I probably wouldn't do this anyway, where you could allow the app to run in the background unchecked. That's how you kill your battery. I am very precious about my phone battery. But yeah, it's working again. It's working on its own again. It connects to the watch as soon as the watch connects, because it's always connected as a Bluetooth device, but the application connects to the watch and syncs the data automatically now. So that was my one big complaint. That one's over. Beyond that, for my purposes, it's perfect. Not perfect as the kind of device it is, perfect for my purposes. And yeah, that's just a quick one on the Nothing Watch 2 Pro. I think you could probably find this for $70. I think I got it for $55 maybe. And at $55, this is a steal. Is it better than the Amaze watch? Or the Amazfit watches? Like the Amazfit VIP? Because it's in the same kind of pricing category. I haven't used them, but I would say probably not. The Amazfit watches integrate to an app store, and they support a few more features, I think. They don't look as nice from what I've seen. They're more plasticky at this price point, because they make a range of devices that covers anything up to like an Android Wear level quality of build. So not as nice form-wise as this, but I think that they support more functions. More functions are always nicer, but I didn't go that route. I went this route, supporting Carl Pei's ventures in Nothing and CMF. And I think that's it for this device. Just something to get my toes wet before I dive back into full-time or regular release podcasting. You can always find me online at Blue Sky or on Threads as Johnathanblade, Instagram, Johnathanblade, and I will be back soon as either my handle is Johnathanblade or Johnathanblade presents The Elder Blerd. Thanks for listening.